Good morning, Rabbi Sai. That was better. It was worth it, you see?
There we go. Right now. Woohoo!
The stam shtusim. So over here, they said I missed a few lines in the Hebrew shir, so we got out. You have a shtickle shir on the slopes, and basically I'm going to do it for the English also, even without missing. This I didn't want to show the whole thing. Let me see if I could here we'll do. Oh no, here we go. It's Good morning, Rabbi Isai. That's what it is. You guys snowboard or ski?
Ski.
Anybody snowboard? Nobody? So no, you won't know if I'm good or not. Okay. This, my 2.5-year-old daughter, Margaret, took my phone, opened Spotify. Who put this in? I don't even know. I have a guy here, something like that. Brooklyn, Baba Metzia Daf Beis. Ooh.
It's not evening. It's morning in Eretz Yisrael. This is what we do. You ready?
I was in Toronto yesterday. For the Rav, my name is David Fanfeder. I'm standing with my chavrusa friend Gershon Schwartz. The kids, what he's saying is that the Daf made a big impact in his life. That on the day of his chasana, he sat there and he learned in his chassan room. Had he had the power, he would have done it under the chuppah, but he was scared of his mom. He says, "There's another. It's a Daf thing." Oh, I want to show you a song that Reb Nachman Seltzer made for the Siyum.
Every Yid in his heart wants to belong. Every Yid wants a connection. When you give him the chance to come home to Hashem, he will grab it with both of his hands. Yet a way to connect is sometimes elusive. It can feel like a mountain too high to climb, which is why there were those who gave up their dream, claiming they just don't have time. Daf, daf, every day another daf. In the morning or at night, I can never get enough. Daf, daf, how I love to learn the daf. Thank you Hashem for Daf Yomi. Daf, daf, it's the gift that never ends. Just as soon as I'm done, it's time to do it again. Daf, daf, a connection to life. Thank you Hashem for Daf Yomi. There's a man that I know who was given a gift, and he chose to share it with others. So a group that was small grew into thousands and now fills the largest of halls. Some will ask, what's the secret, the magic, the trick? What's the pull that has brought them all here? But the answer is clear. He has given them gear to climb that mountain so high. Daf, daf, every day another daf. In the morning or at night, we can never get enough. Daf, daf, how we love to learn the daf. Thank you Hashem for Daf Yomi. Daf, daf, it connects us high above. Every time that we learn, we feel strength, we feel love. Daf, daf, how you nourish my soul. Thank you Hashem for Daf Yomi. Yehem chayenu, v'orech yomeinu, uvahem negeh yoyim v'layla. Yehem chayenu, v'orech yomeinu, uvahem negeh yoyim v'layla. Now the years have flown by, time passing so quickly. MDY growing up, now global in size. So a bracha so clear to our Magid Shir. May you forever continue to rise. Daf, daf, every day another daf. In the morning or at night, we can never get enough. Daf, daf, now we love to learn the daf. Thank you Hashem for daf yomi. Daf, daf, the seams now in sight. After years that we stayed with the Torah's delight. Daf, daf, then when we reach that last line, we'll open brachos and continue to climb. Daf, daf, it's the journey that we see to be close to Hashem, to conquer the deep. Daf, daf, it's the secret, the key. Thank you Hashem for Daf Yomi. Thank you Hashem for Daf Yomi.
Givaldic. Here, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically, this individual, if I can read it, he's a lawyer. His name is Kobe Alter, 38 years old. He's a speaker for the Misrat Apnim and learns Daf Yomi. He gave bone marrow. He's donating bone marrow and doing the shear, our shear. And it just goes on to say how it's the ruach of MDY to learn daily in every place, in every situation, even while you're saving lives. Ashrei Om She'ilu Loimdov. At the Miami trade show here, so we have Eli Weiss, who brought in 26 people, put up a booth, 26 people to learn Torah. Here he is. Gave out a free Gemara and recruited. That's unbelievable. And he put the Hebrew Shir in live. Rabbi Weiss at Houston, Texas, to have a daily watch. Dallas Siyum, Boston Siyum, Brooklyn Therapist Group Siyum. Oh, Eli Deichman and his son. This is in Haifa, and this is Reb Reuven Epstein, who spoke beautifully.
I just want to give a tremendous shout out to Reb Eli and MDY and all the amazing work that is done behind the scenes. We're coming off of the Shabbaton where we had just an amazing, amazing Shabbos. Standing here in Auschwitz under the Arbet Macht Frei sign, we mentioned on Shabbos that Ein ben chayrin elami she'isik b'Torah. The one who is the true free person is the one who's Isaac b'Torah. When you hear the sound, when you hear that sound, you're truly free. You're bringing freedom into your house. You're living like a free, true Eved Hashem, somebody who's learning and growing and davening. Thank you, Reveli, for all your amazing work. Thank you very, very much.
And one reminder, I want to tell the Olam, this is a brand new interview I did with Yaakov Langer on Living L'Chaim. You can check it out on Living L'Chaim. I am a slave for the Daf. Official edition, MDY Shas, the Masechta by the Iranian Levi families, Perek, Shani Mati Belsky and family, in memory of our dear brother, Simcha Belsky, Joel and Rachel Gedalius, in memory of David I. Davis, David ben Pinchas, Zechron L'Vracha. Masechta sponsors, David Salomon, dedicated in memory of Avi Moiri, Reb Shimon Baruch ben Reb Chaim Tzvi Doi, Zechron L'Vracha. The Masechta sponsor, Joel Gedalius, Lina Nishmas, my father, Jack Gedalius, anonymous, Taslach Baruch, and Zubagashmis, Sending Gross and family, Canvey Island, UK, in honor of Rebelli, who changed my meaning of life. Masechta sponsors, anonymous. You see what I'm saying? You're going to start hearing that, changing my life, changing me. It's something unique to the Shir. Anonymous, Refuah Shlema L'Moshe Ben Nizah. Anonymous, for a complete Refuah Shlema and Arichas Yom to Leah Bas Esther, Yisrael and Malki, Tovli Torah's Picha, Malfi Zav, Chesef. We are so proud of you. Dr. Mordechai, keep steiging. Boys, I want to mention something amazing. Spoke about it before, but you guys didn't hear. A lot of the guys here. Let me just do a real turnaround there. You ready? Say hello to the camera for a second. This is in Park City. Guys came to ski and they're here learning Torah at night. Somebody's very excited in the back over there. The oil got together on Shabbos and bought me an Aliyah. It was crazy. One of the crazy things on Shabbos was emotion after emotion, and I was a wreck. A lot of people were a wreck, but they spent $180,000 on the Aliyah. They all got together. Out of the $180,000, I think close to $100,000 was paid off already. So it's a reminder to people that if you're one of those people and you didn't forget, you did forget, here's a good time. Plenty of money. It's a lot of money to collect. From 120 was already collected? Wow. Wow, I'm very, very impressed. Bemis, very impressed. To collect out of 180. We don't know who they are. That's the thing. Everybody, this guy said 1,000, this guy said 2,000. It's crazy. Plenty of money. Here's the guy that gave $4,000. Yishkoyach. $4,000. Shmulik Gavas. Yishkoyach. Plenty of money and all the salamis. You have to bemis. I didn't have time to thank everybody. He gave a Romanian. He owns Romanian. Romanian is the top meat in America, and it's available now. I think around America. Could you get it? Could you ship it? They just got RomanianKosher.com. They have already FDA approved to send all over USDA, and every room got a Romanian salami. People didn't know what to do with it. So like a lot of people are like, what is this? You hang it in your kitchen for 2 weeks, and then you eat it. It's geschmack. It dries out. Then you eat it. You have to know what to do. To be a Chicagoan for this. Plenty Almighty. I believe that this Plenty Almighty, his son, is sitting in the room here. Plenty Almighty, Yossi, Mark, and Benny, and all the Oiskim B'tzorchei, MDY, I'm pretty sure it's your dad. Because he's another Mesechta sponsor. The Mesechta sponsor is $9,000, and he says, no, I don't, what's this $9,000? Give him 10. He put this in Plenty Almighty. Does it make sense? Does he use the Plenty Almighty? It does. Okay, yeah. Ari Simon, L'Refuah Shleima Avi Moiri Baruch B'Miriam, Jamie Azulai, L'Refuah Shleima Esther Basluna, Esther Walkinson, Mazel Tov to my husband, Kamen Tana Walkinson, his 40th birthday. We're mamish. We're longest sponsorship things of all time. Anonymous, Bracha L'Idai Baruch Tzvinisim, and Shoshana Leah, Yehuda B'Yom Ben Chava. Anonymous, for Shleima Naftali Hezben Henry Leah, hidden tzaddik in our generation. Anonymous, in memory of Mazel Bat Leah B'Sanada and Hiskia. Monthly sponsors Anonymous, the schus verdict that is good in an open and revealed way. Yes, Mordechai ben Bati Leah. Weekly sponsors West Hesed Chevra in memory of our beloved Mardas, Rav Yehuda Kellemer, Zech upon his 5th yard side. Daily sponsors Joel and Rachel Gedalius in memory of Mary Gedalius, Mariam Bas Chaim Zalman, Alea Shalom, Shimmy Liefman, Moisa Sefasecha Tishmar, Nisht Shabbos Geret, Meiser from Shabbaton, Stender Sales at What a Shabbos. Hashtag What a Shabbos. I guess he sold some stenders, he does stenders, and he wants to pay off the meiser. So let's make a cheshbon. This is $180. People bought $1,800 worth of stenders. Mashu kaza. That's quick. Yaakov Yegan, in honor of Yossi Klein, thank you for all you do for MDY. Shkayach Yaakov. MDY art is then. Anonymous is Yossi ben Chai, sorry for Parnasa B'Revach. L'Refuah Shleima Yonatan Eitan ben B'Sheva Bracha. L'Refuah Shleima Mordechai ben Esther. L'Refuah Hayeled Daniel Zev ben Ayelet Esther. Rabbi Yisai, here we go. We're holding on Daf Gimel Amud Beis. And just a quick repeat of what we learned yesterday. We have the Shita of Rav Shimon Bar Yochai. We're learning Menachos. What's Menachos? Some people is the first time they ever heard of Menachos. So here goes. You just started today, and a lot of people started today. Not only you guys here, a lot of people. We have close to 3,000 people that started learning Menachos with MDY this week. So you're not a Daf Yomi Yid, and you just started it. You're one of them. But I'm talking about between Hebrew and English. So a mincha is a type of a carbon, but it's made out of flour. Unlike a carbon where it's an animal and we have a kachim and kachim kalim, very, very similar to a carbon, we have a mincha. Somebody who either owes it because he sinned or he wants to give it as a donation. He brings a mincha, minchas nedava, minchas chayte. different types of menachos, which we're going to learn throughout the Masechta. Within the menachos, you have a minchas marcheshes, a minchas machvas, which are the same exact ingredients, just they're made in a different type of pot. So one is thinner and harder, thicker, harder, let's call it. Another one is larger, it's the same amount of oil, just because it's made in a different pot, the oil burns off slower, so it's much softer. So just like in Masechtas Zvachim, those of you who learned it, same first Mishnah as Masechtas Menachos, just over there it's talking about animals, and over here we're talking about Menachos. Over there it says that if a kohen doesn't have the right kavana, in Yiddishkeit is all about kavana, in his mind, as he's shechting this carbon, he thinks to himself that it's not an oila. He thinks to himself it's really supposed to be an oila. He thinks to himself it's a shlamim. So he ruined it for the person bringing it, but he didn't ruin the actual carbon. You could still continue bringing the carbon. Our Mishnah has a similar halacha. If he thinks in his mind that it's a minchas marcheshes instead of a minchas machvas, so he continue bringing it, but the owner has to bring another one. The only difference is that a flour mincha costs $1 and an animal costs $500. A little bit of a nafkamina. It's like the drones, the DJI and your drones. Little nafkamina. It's the same size. They're probably slower. It just costs $100,000. I get it. Great. Is it true? Because the guy took me in a Rolls Royce in Toronto. He says, "Oh, this is like a $900,000 car." Is it? I thought it's $300,000. Rolls Royce is really $900,000? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Take two.
Anyway, so we had a contradiction in Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai. Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai himself says, on the one hand, that if you bring a mincha and the kohen thinks to himself that it's a different type of mincha, toss it out, throw it in the garbage. The other hand, he says, in a different place, he says that's perfect. Keep on going. You don't even have to bring another mincha. So what's the pshat? So we had 3 pshatim. The Gemara says like this. We'll say the pshatim as we go along, because it's basically yesterday's sugya, and we're going to go through it quickly. Kulu karab amri. The reason why I did the chart is because now you can see who the kulu is. You see that kulu is Rava and Ravashi. Rava and Ravashi don't say like Rava. What does Rava say? Rava says the difference between the brises is that the kohen in one brise was thinking about another owner, not another mincha. He thought that this mincha was brought by Shimon, not by Reuben. So that's a mess up. That you toss out into the garbage. That's why he says you throw it out. Where he says that it's okay is because he just messed up with, he knew the owner. He knew the owner is Reuben. He just thought that it's a different type of mincha. It's not a marcheshes. Okay, so how come Rava and Ravashi don't like Rabba's pshat? Because Rabba is actually saying that when a person messes up, and it's obvious that he messes up, then it's kosher. He's holding in his hand the marcheshes, it's this thick, let's say, and he's calling it a machvas. Those of you who have children know. Sometimes you look at your child, you say, you call him Shimon instead of Reuven, whatever. And then you go to the next kid's name, then finally get his name right. Ever happened to your father does it to you? Sitting right over there, huh? He says yes. It happens. So did he make a mistake? No, he didn't make it. It was so his mistake was so gross that it's not even a mistake. That's Rabba Shita. Rabba says no. When you make a mistake, you passed it. The fact that it was so bad, the mistake, Adarabba, it makes it even worse. So that's what they're saying over here. A mistake that's so obvious, that's where it becomes puzzle. Okay, next one, by the way, it's also an easier sugya, and a lot of the sugyas are very easy and repetitive of zvachim. But you take out the carbon, you put in flour. So Rava is of the opinion that when a person makes a mistake between 2 menachos, he calls it a marcheshes instead of machvas, that's kosher. But what happened was he took this pan, this fried bread, and he called it an oila. An oila is reserved for an animal. That's where it's no good. And that's Rava L'Shita said that when you make a gross mistake, it's possible. And he also brings the pasuk Rava L'Yamr v'zayis toiras loy mashmu. And he says that when a person makes a mistake within the mincha, he calls one mincha another mincha. he gets a free pass. Why? Because the Torah says v'zois Torahs hamincha. All menachos are under one umbrella. So if you call the machvas marcheshes and the marcheshes machvas, it's fine. It's within the umbrella of a mincha. But they say, wait a minute. If you're going with the pasuk v'zois Torahs hamincha, there's another pasuk v'zois Torahs hachatas. So when a person messes up in a chatas, you should have the same halachas. So if a person ate blood by mistake and he has to bring a chatas, but the kohen said it was a chatas for eating chaylev, why do you have to toss that chatas out? It's all within the same umbrella of chatas, and therefore they don't agree to Rab's pshat, to Rav's pshat. That's the Rabba and Ravashi don't agree to the middle one, Rav. Now, Ravashi le'amri, and how come they don't like, again, we have a contradiction, Reb Shimon bar Yochai, two brises say the opposite things, that if you mess up in a mincha, it's okay, if you mess up in a mincha, it's not okay. Says Ravashi, the difference is that when you mess up for a mincha, you didn't say the word mincha, you said, I'm bringing a machvas, I'm bringing a marcheshes. You didn't say minchas machvas. When you say minchas machvas, that's when it becomes possible. We saw yesterday that the Ravacha Berei the Rava asked the question, what if a person messes up, and it's an obvious mess up, where he says, I'm bringing a mincha called a balul. In other words, a person is walking with a mincha chareva, which is a very dry mincha, no oil, and he calls it a balul. So according to Reb Shimon, it's kosher. But why? Okay, so that problem. So basically, what we see is that each shita, Rabba, Rav, and Ravashi, each one has a problem. Nothing is solid. Nothing. We don't have a one answer that's a really good answer. So says the Gemara. We're holding 4 lines from the bottom. So as we saw, Rab is of the opinion when a person makes a real mistake, like Rashi calls it ruach ba'alma. It's like shtusim, real shtusim. I have to say, because you guys didn't hear it, anybody that went to MDY, that's been in MDY for the last half year, heard me say it at least 4 times. I gotta say, it's one of my favorites. Reb Baruch Martha Ezrachi, the famous Rosh Hashiva, he's in Shir. And a guy asked him a question. So he looks at him and he says, that question, it's so bad, it's not even shtusim. It's not even shtusim. 5 minutes later, a guy asks him kasha. He goes, oh, that's shtusim. So this is so bad, it's not even shtusim. It's bad. He's holding it in his hand. It's this, then it's a cracker, and he calls it a soft mincha. Okay, so it's a bad mess up. Everybody understood what he did here. Why toss it? Why? So Rava says when it's so obvious, then it's kosher. Rava says the exact opposite. Rava says if it's such a bad mistake, that itself makes it possible. Okay, so you have the sheet of Rava and Rava, but nevertheless, Rishaya would ask the question, the boy Rishaya. Ravasi asked Ravasi. Mali Omer Reb Shimon. What's Reb Shimon bar Yochai's opinion when a person messes up and he says, and this is crazy, he holds a mincha in his hand, it's made out of flour and oil, and he says, oh, this is an oila. An oila means a carbon. What kind of carbon? Rabbi said, you know what kind of animal? Is it a zachar and a keva? You got to know this stuff. We had it yesterday. Oila is always a zachar. A chatas is always in a keva. So it's not a zachar, not a keva. It's a piece of bread. So what is it? What's the halacha there? Is the pshat that if it's such a bad mistake, it's not possible. And this is a bad mistake, it should be kosher. He called the bread, he called it a noila. Perhaps because it's the pasuk that Rava brings, that all menachos are under one umbrella. But that's a mincha. If you make a mistake between mincha to mincha, then it's fine, we give you a pass. But if you make a mistake between mincha and an oila, you don't get the pass. Bezevach like siv doesn't talk about a carbon in the pasuk. Shmuel, you remind me, maybe after share, after everybody goes, I want to record these 4 lines. They said I missed these 4 lines. That's the problem when you're by yourself and you're just reading. I went onto a tangent here. I'll tell you what the tangent is in a second. Actually, I'll just say the tangent right now. Right before Yom Kippur, I had this idea, and Baruch Hashem was matzliach. How do I know it was matzliach? The idea was not to talk during Kaddish. Kaddish is super important. It's one of the top parts of davening. It's like kedusha, right? Have you ever seen somebody talk during kedusha? I've seen once or twice in my life, seriously, once or twice, people schmoozing during kedusha. Kaddish, 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 and the chazan singing. These guys are just schmoozing. Very, very rare. Amay Yishmi Rabba is, I'm not going to go. Maybe it's even greater than kedusha. Yeah, it's one of the top places that even la halacha, if you hear the chazan saying Amay Yishmi Rabba, you middle shmona esrei, you pause, you stop, you listen to him, and you have kavara that you're saying it. It's big stuff. And then I brought this thing that I don't even know where it is. It says kadmoinim say it. Never found it really, but it was good enough to scare the Olam. That if you talk during Kaddish, then when your kids say Kaddish for you, Hashem just tosses it. It's not worth anything. You're a talker, you're a Kaddish talker, you don't get Kaddish. Yeah, it makes sense, but I never found it real. So we went on a campaign, just not during Kaddish. My deal was that if you don't talk during Kaddish, maybe it'll spill over to other areas of davening. We'll start small. A minute here, a minute there. It's not the end of the world. It's not the whole Chazar. It's not the whole Kriyas Torah. And a lot of people took it upon themselves, and I heard full shuls. We had a shul in Ramat Daled that the entire shul said, okay, we're going to do this program. Another shul. Kids, it was gewaldig. But one thing that I noticed was on Shabbos, the Shabbos, the MDY Shabbos, you have 900 people in a tent, massive tent, and there was zero talking. I don't know. I looked around, and people came up to me afterwards. They said, did you notice that nobody's talking during Chazar Shas? Nobody's talking during Kaddish? Did you notice it? It's a pella, because you have people from all walks of life. We had super Modax people and super Hasidish people that ate by themselves in a corner, and their wives were in a different part. But a woman came over to me, not knowing, she didn't know. She gave me a good Shabbos. She stuck out her hand to say good Shabbos. That's not in a bad way. She didn't know. She probably didn't know. Big daffer. Her husband's a big daffer. So to see all these types of people and there's no schmoozing was a big chizuk. Big chizuk. Anyway, so so now I don't want to skip this. This is where I was. In other words, he said, Reb Shimon contradicted himself. We have two brises that contradict. We have three explanations how to explain the contradiction, and each one has a hole. Each one has a problem. We just went through the problems. So Mela, Kirabba, and the Gemara goes through it now. Kirabba Mishanale, Mishum Kushi da Abaya. Abaya has a question on Rabbo that once you do a hekesh, and you learn that if you mess up in a mincha, so what's the difference if you mess up between the owners? You forgot that it's not Reuven bringing it Shimon, or you messed up in the mincha itself. A mess up is not a problem. So that's Abaya's question. We explained it before. We have by chatas also it says zois Torah, so all chatas should be under one umbrella. So you should get a free pass if you mess up by the chatas, but you don't. The Rav Achaber, the Rava, as we explained before, of the mincha. If a person says that he's bringing a mincha balul, according to Reb Shimon, it's kosher. Why? Great. New sugi. Rabbi say brand new sugi. Just trying to remember what these things are. And Yoshi Baruch Hashem, our lead artist, was sick. He came to Israel, got sick. Oh, that is Omer. Okay, great. Beautiful, brand new video from Minchas Omer. The Mishnah says that if you mess up on a mincha of a chayta, chayta means a person, let's say, swore falsely and he can't afford to bring a carbon, so he's poor, so he brings flour. If he messes up, let's say he goes into the Beis HaMikdash when he's tamei, he brings a flour mincha. Now, the way to remember it is because he's a chayta, he brings chayta niskar in this case. Chayta benefits. He doesn't bring any oil and any levina, nothing. He brings flour. And a minchas knois is the mincha of a saita. So I asked Yoshi to speed this up. I showed this a bunch of times when we were learning saita. That's that technology. Today we're way, way more advanced, but it's kedai to see. There's many, many steps in a saita. So basically what you're going to see is fast. It's going to be on fast speed. The husband warns his wife not to have yichud with another man. She doesn't listen. She's misyachid. He brings her to the Beis Hamikdash, and this is a whole long process. That's Masechet Saita. They remove her nice clothing, they give her other clothing, they have to undo her hair, they Bekitzer, she brings a mincha. They do the writing that everybody knows. The Kohen writes all these psukim, puts it in the water. The water erases Hashem's name. She drinks the water. If she's guilty, she explodes. If she's not guilty, she gets a bracha. Here goes. So the woman that we have there is called Achlucha. She's a woman based off the Gemara because her face is round. She has crazy features. She has duck feet, the whole thing. But it's time for the shtick. Take water from the kiyar. You go take dirt from that place right over there, and then you put the dirt in. Shem Hashem. And now the mincha. The mincha, the guy is going to do a kmitza a little bit wrong. Now we know it's this way, but the point is 3 fingers, puts it in another klisharis. You have to do like you do with a lulav. You go up, down, right, left, learn lulav from this, and then you do something called hagasha. Hagasha is everybody that goes to MDY knows. What corner do you do hagasha? How do you know? The airplane, that's right. So we had a mizbeach in the hotel, and there was here, she blew up. She exploded. Okay, and then the noyef also explodes, by the way. So, did you know that the guy also explodes? No. So you see, you learn on the Daf Yomi, you learn chidushim every single day. Literally, not a day goes by that you don't learn something new that you didn't know the day before. That's why it's good for yeshiva guys also, by the way. But as well, when you're schmoozing with the boys, instead you can do 40 minutes. It's not awesome. It's not also to be moisef more stuff. Also, guys that do a raisa, no? That's right. In the car, in the way. Instead of listening to sports, and I do a raisa. You're doing, especially if you have a self drive, so you put the screen in front of you, so Tesla thinks that you're driving. You're looking ahead. You could, but our charts weren't. They're okay. They could be better, but it was a new technology. The charts, people liked it a lot. Anyway, so Zog the Gemara. So here's the thing. These 2 menachos, if the kohen messes up and thinks that it's another type of mincha, he looks at the minchas chayt and says, "Oh, this is a nedava. This came from the guy's good heart, not because he did a sin." You take it and you throw it in the garbage. Literally, there might be a place over there to burn it, whatever, but it's garbage. You don't continue bringing it. So bishlam minchas chayta, it basically mimics a carbon chatas, because a carbon chatas and a carbon pesach are the only 2 karbanos that if the kohen messes up and thinks that it's another type of carbon, you throw it out. Every other carbon, you continue with the process. You put it on the mizbeach. It's a nice thing. It doesn't work for the owner. He has to bring another one, but you don't throw it out. There's no point to throw it. 2 of them you throw out: carbon chatas and carbon pesach. So 2, when it comes to mincha, there are 2 that you throw out: the mincha of the chayta and the mincha of this saita. Why? Because it mimics a carbon chatas. And the Torah itself calls this mincha a carbon chatas. Why? You shouldn't put any oil here. You see, it's raw, it's so bad, this mincha. You're a bad guy, you did a bad avera, or an avera. So you don't even get to honor Hashem. You're not even going to put oil. You don't put any frankincense in it. The Torah calls it a chatas. Oh, chatas? So you toss it out if you make a mistake. Why epes is a mincha of a saita different than all other menachos, and you toss it out if you make a mistake? The Tana Kam Rav Nachman, because Tana says, let me just find my here. Minchas knois moisur nedava. If you have extra money left over from this mincha of the saita, you give it as an nedava to the Beis Hamikdash. You buy korbanos with it. Omerlei shapika amris. You have a gzeir shava. What? Gzeir shava means when you have the same word in 2 different psukim, so you learn one pasuk from the other, one idea from the other idea. Maskeres oven ksivba. It says the word oven, ayin vav nun. Ubechad ksiv va'ison osan lachem loses is avoin haida ayin vav nun. Ma'achad is moisur nedava. Minchas kenois moisur nedava. By the way, if you're watching the shir, there's usually wording on the bottom of the screen. So even if you don't have a Gemara, you'll be able to follow along. Avchatas moisur nedava. Ma'chatas moisur nedava. Af minchas kenois moisur nedava. So we're learning 2 halachas because Two psukim. We're going to learn the mincha of a saita from a chatas. Just like when you have leftover money by a chatas, you put it into the pushkin, to one of the shofars it's called, and that money goes for the oilas of the mizbeach. So too, the leftover money of a saita goes towards an adava. And one more halacha. If the kohen messes up in his intent, he thinks it's another type of carbon, you throw it out. Oh, so the answer is, I learned the mincha of a saita from a gzeir shava from chatas. As the Gemara, I don't like your gzeir shava, because if it's true that there's a gzeir shava, a carbon asham should have the same halacha as a carbon chatas. Why? Because it has the same word avain in the pasuk of asham. So you should learn asham from chatas and toss out every asham that you mess up on. But that's not the halacha. The gomar of an avain mechatas. Oh, so let's see the pasuk. So you see, it says the word avain in the pasuk of asham. So what's the answer, Rabbi Say? It's not a real gzeir shava, because the other pasuk says avain, ayin vav nun, and over here it says avainoi. Now, anytime the Gemara does that, almost every time, the Gemara right away jumps up. No, what does it say? You learned this. Beautiful. Yeah, you see, I knew you knew it. Why? It's 11 times in Shas. It's what? Marcus. Okay. Here you can look in the sign. I'm sure he brings it all 11 times. It does say here, Marcus Yud Gimel. Yeah. So what's the point? The point will say Baal Peh. The Gemara always says it doesn't have to be not only doesn't have to have the same spelling, it has an extra vav here, but even if it's a completely different word, it's still a good gzeir shav as long as the words mean the same thing. So let's see inside. So the Gemara danim avain me'avain vein danin avainoi me'avain. It's a different word. You don't learn one word from the other because it says an extra vav at that. So the Gemara ma'nafkamina v'atarid be'ei Rabbi Shmuel v'shava kain u'ba'ai kain. When this tsaras or nega, I should call it a nega, on a wall of a house here. I'm just going to zoom into this nega. This is just old. It doesn't mean anything. It's just on the corner, a whole thing. So what? Because of it, it's the size of two beans, and the combination. It was a sugi over there. Just to show, this is the only thing I found, because Yoshi was out, so I had to do it kind of myself. I couldn't find. I don't know. I was not good at searching. But a nega, but kids, if you come home and you see some sort of spot, just instead of on your hand, you see a white thing on your hand, on your body, you see it on your wall. It's a ruchnius thing. So you got to call a kohen, and it's 1 week, 2 weeks. He comes back, he checks it, he comes back again. So the 2 times that he comes back, it says v'shav, he returns, and it says uba, and he comes. It basically means the same thing. He returns to your house. So the Gemara learns gzeir shav. He can learn the first week from the second week. It's not even the same word. It's different words. V'shav and ba. Zui shiva, zui bia. It's the same thing. You can learn gzeir shav. Oh, hold on. Shava kain uba kain. I didn't notice that he did something here. Wow. Shava kain uba kain. My silly thing is going to be a joke now when I put it on the wall. Oh, he checks out. This is Avremi Cohen. Wow. You know Avremi Cohen? He's our head tech guy. This is Mamashim. Wow. This schmuck. Take out all the furniture. Don't enter. Do not enter. Comes second week. You have to break down the stones. Okay, schmuck, very schmuck. If you know Avremi Cohen, that was literally Avremi Cohen. It's all AI, but it was Avremi Cohen. You remember what the Gemara also says? If there's another type of gzeir shava, then if there's no other gzeir shava, then if you have 2 options, you go with the one that's more similar. Okay, I don't know. It doesn't really work in our sugi, I guess. I'll go upon him. Void. If a person makes a false shvua, it says over there also the sivim layagiv v'nasa avaynai. Here, so you learn. Okay, so learn asham from Shmisa Kol. Ella kigarmi gzeir shava l'moisen adav the gamri. So Gemara goes away from his pshat. I'm looking for a source that tells me that if the kohen messes up on the minchas soita, you take the minchas soita and throw it out. I wanted to learn from chatas. The Gemara says no. I'm not going to learn from chatas. The only thing I learned from chatas in the gzeir shava is that the extra goes to tzedakah, goes to nedava, not tzedakah, goes to the special fund that funds the mizbeach for korbanos. Oh, there's a saver called Glili Zav that I found. It says, that if a person knows edus, you know testimony, you say I don't know, you lie. So it's a bad thing. You have to bring a carbon the whole thing. So he says, the Glili Zav says, this is a remez for somebody that knows he could be meicha. Yes, it's a big thing. Americans don't like to do mecha. It's like not politically correct. If somebody does something wrong, it's none of your business. You just keep on going. But we know that Klal Yisrael are raving zelazah. If something does something wrong, you should. It's difficult. Not so much in our generation because we're a bunch of litzanim. We won't accept it the whole day. You have to know that the person's going to accept it. If you know for a fact that he's going to be upset at you and he's not going to do tshuva, he's not going to this, so it's not kedai to do it, even in our generation. He brings a source from here. So I just, because we're still in Daf Daled, I think it's super important. The only way we got like 3,000 people to join Menachos, which is a lot think about it, it's a middle shas. A lot of people say, hey, I'm going to wait until brachas, it's already towards the end, when I'm going to start Menachos now and build kachim. And the answer to that is, there's no such thing as shas. For you, shas begins at Menachos. And you, Be'ez Hashem, are going to make a siyum shas when you finish zvachim. We know Rebbe didn't start shas at brachas. That's for sure. I don't think he started brachas. I'm pretty sure when we learned the sugya, it's not. In Vilna, that's the first one. For whatever reason, we start Maya, this, that, it starts with brachas. But that's not, people go to MedLife Stadium, that's where it's shot. That's not the Siyum Shas. Siyum Shas could be, 10 guys made a Siyum Shas, in the middle of the Masechta. That was our Siyum Shas. Because it's a Ferris wheel, so it's just a circle. So wherever you get on, that's where you get off. If most Klal Yisrael gets on in brachas, so they get off in brachas. You get on in Menachos, you get on in Menachos. It's better, because then your father will make you a big party, the whole thing, it's special. Otherwise, you have to be part of, everybody else's Siyum. So, my point is that Midah Toiva Meruba, meaning if there's such a Isser, you see somebody, I don't know, he does Avodah Zarah, so you're supposed to walk over and say, hey, Rabbi, what you're doing is wrong, it's Avodah Zarah. So, Midah Toiva Meruba, if you see a guy, and I really believe this, if you're doing a right, so you're doing Kim Mesechta, Givaldik, you're in Yeshiva, you're in Kail, Givaldik, there's nothing to talk about. But there's tens of thousands of frum guys who went to the yeshiva system, they don't learn a word. They're in healthcare, they're in real estate, whatever they're in, they're working 24/7. They don't learn. They don't learn. And they have a chavrusa here, they tell you they learn twice a week, 3 days. Those are the guys that, if you have a chiv to go over to the guy and say, don't do naveira, you have a chiv to go to the guy and say, hey, you can change your life, you could learn Torah, here's a great program, you get a free Gemara, try it out, let's go. And that's why a lot of people, this guy got 26 people. This guy's he has a whole company, does fencing in Miami. He sat there a whole day, sitting, giving out a Gemara. Why? Because he knows that it's important to change people. He saw what it did for himself. He wants to give it to somebody else. So the Gemara, Ella, ki gamri gzer shava, lo mesn adovu the gamri. Chite me gzer shava mechza. But once you do gzer shava, you're going to learn saita from a chatas. You have to learn all the halachas from a chatas. You can't just learn half and say, oh, it's only for the extra money goes to buy karbanas. No, we have a meal. You're right. Typically, you have to do the whole Gzer Shava. But over here, it's a meal. When only by a chatas, if the kohen messes up a little bit and he thinks about something else, you toss it out. But all other kachim, if the kohen thinks about the wrong type of carbon, you continue with that carbon. So bottom line is, I'm back to the original question. How in the world do I know that these two menachas, the mincha of a sinner and the mincha of a saita, if the kohen thinks about another type of mincha, you have to throw it out? It says in the pasuk the word who. Who, he, who. The pasuk says who, but it doesn't really matter. Here. Who? So by mincha it also says the word who. Hashanami, as the Gemara, hoksiv behu. By Asham we also have this word who, and so you should say that doesn't mess it up, it messes it up completely, and Asham doesn't mess up. Ahu lach aktoris imurim u'dichsev. Wow, I just remembered. It's Geshmak Amaisa. Again, it's one of the oldies, but a goodie. When I learned in Skver as a kid, I learned it for 2 years. A cheder called Skver, Beis Yitzchak on 14th Avenue and 45th Street. Kids are our Rebbe. We're learning Kiddushin, and it just reminded me because the Gemara says he, and the Ger says who. The pasuk says who. I'm showing you who. But anyways, the Rebbe says, famous sugya. What if the man gave the woman the Kiddushin, but she said Harei atam ukudesh li? Or what if she gave him the Kiddushin? So it says, Nosan hu v'amrahi. But he's Chassidish. She goes like this. Nusan hi v'umrahi. Or the Nusan hi v'umrahi. Aber was heißt, Thomas sie sagt, Nusan hi v'umrahi. Or the Nusan hi v'umrahi. I'm like, what is, they sound all the same to me. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway. Ahu he, who. Osham nami ksiv be who. Ahu, lach aktor seimurim hu dichsev. Give shmak. Anyways, so the Gemara says no, but by Asham, here this is also, if you didn't learn Zvachim, so this is Geshmak. Every animal has these 3 things that go on the Mizbeach. They're called imurim. The kidneys, the Yisers HaKaved, in English it's called, this steak is a very Geshmak steak, it's called the skirt steak. It separates, divides between the lungs and the what do you call it over there? It's like it's a wall, yeah? So you read what? Diaphragm, thank you. And the fat that goes around the kidneys, that goes on the Mizbeach regardless of what you do. Now, what if a person doesn't put it on the Mizbeach? They forget it fell on the side somewhere. The halacha is, the carbon is perfect. Yeah, this is the new technology. Our guys built the Mizbeach, the whole thing. It's a little bit different. It's a little different than the Mizbeach we saw by the Saida. Things are changing crazy. Akoponim. The point is that these imurim, if you don't do it, not the end of the world. The carbon is still kosher. So Mamela, the word who, by Asham, comes after the imurim. In the pasuk, when the pasuk says the word who, it's after you already bring the imurim by Asham, which is not an important time anymore. So the word who is, we're not gurish it so much. We don't care so much about it. But what does it do, the word who? So, what's my? Still kosher. Even if you don't bring the imurim, it's still kosher. By Asham, why did I say the word who? Look at the Rav Huna Amar Rav, because there's another separate halacha. Asham shenitak l'ri'ah u'shchot istam. Oh, this is Geshmak, one of my favorite videos of Mesachtes Zvachim. There's a halacha that if a person brings a chatos, let's say, and he dies, so it's chatos shemesu baleh. It's one of the 5 chatos that unfortunately, what do? You have to let it die. You can't feed it. You can't do anything. But what if the same thing happens with the asham? Asham and chatos are very similar, but they're different. They come for an avera. A guy sets aside an asham and he doesn't have a chance. He has a heart attack and dies. Now what do you do with the asham? So what you do is you let it graze yirachi yistav. So here's our version of yirachi yistav. You let it graze and you hope that it breaks a bone. It becomes a balmum. Okay. So let me show you this video. This is the classic. You send I think he has a heart attack. This is a chatas. This is asham that its owner died. So what do? You send it to Kevis land. Daniel Benedict, that's your son. Laughing out loud. What? The injured now, and they go to get a, and then you trade it in. You take the injured one and you buy an oila, and the oila goes for dessert on the mizbeach. It's called ketz mizbeach. We literal dessert. When there's a downtime on the mizbeach and there's no karbanos, you just grab one of these oilas that you bought with the money from the injured one. And okay, so that's kevis land. So where are we holding now? Wow, 49 minutes. Okay, so we have 10 minutes from Amid Beis. Perfect, because Amid Beis throughout Shas, as you know, is much easier. So you have this keves, this asham guy running around in keves land trying to become a balmum, and somebody walks over and grabs him and checks him. What is he? Is he an oila or an asham? He started as an asham, but we're hoping he's going to get a mum, and once he gets a mum, we're going to sell him and take the money and buy an oila with it. So it becomes an oila. You shechted it, becomes an oila. But that's dafka nitakin. When you picked it up, you gave it to the shepherd to graze over there in Kevis land, then aloi nitakloi. But if you didn't give it to the shepherd, then it remains an asham. And this I learned. You asked me, what do you do with the word who? I learned that halacha from the word who. It should remain as is. It should remain asham. Omarav minchas ha'omer shekmatza shaloi l'shma psula. Givaldik. What is omer? So omer, check this out. Brand new for today. It's unbelievable. Hold on, let me just tell you first why I know it's unbelievable because I had a team. We were paying close to $200,000 a year for a few guys to do 3D animation, and it would take them 4 days. 2 guys, 4 days to come up with a thing, and it wasn't as nice. It wasn't as crisp. It wasn't as sharp. It was a different world. Now, one guy could come up with 1 or 2 of these videos a day. Now, these are very talented people, obviously. But this he did in a day with this new logo, the History Channel, MDY History Channel.
In the days of the Beis HaMikdash, before anyone could eat
The
from the new
voiceover.
grain of the year, the omer must be brought first. Erev Pesach, angels of the Bezdin prepare 3 bundles for the harvest. That night, the people gather with torches. 3 messengers stand ready. They call out, as the sun set, yes. With this sickle, yes. Is it the 16th of Nisan? Yes. The men harvest 3 sa'ah of barley. The barley stalks are then brought to the Beis HaMikdash where they're beaten to separate the grain from the stalks. They are then roasted in an oven over the fire.
Aviv, Aleph Beis Yud Beis.
Spread on the azara to separate the chaff from the grains. And ground into flour. They are then sifted using
Just that
13
part would
sieves in
take a
order
week.
to attain a fine consistency.
13 sifters. See, they're standing on the side of
The
it.
kohen then mixes the flour with oil to perform the mitzvah of blila. The Levovits is added, and the kohen does kmitza. He then does tnufa, raising the kli sharis in the air. Then he does Torah, placing the kmitza and the wina into the fire under the bed. From then and on, all the grain which was polished is now the
This is like
consumption.
Motzei Pesach, you know, you're trying to get the pizza. Givaldik. Okay, beautiful. Now, I have to mention, because every time I mention Omer, I have to say it's because I have trauma from when I was a child. My father is makbid on Yashan. It's actually it's a deiraisa. It's not to be it's not a chumrah. It's a deiraisa. Now, the reason why people are not so makbid in America because there's a bach. There's something on a bach. It's a massive kula that started in Europe because they couldn't eat otherwise. It's not like today where you could get the flour from the old crop. So they had to be something on the bach. But to make fun of the halacha, like somebody made fun of me when I was a kid, I went to a bakery and I asked the woman if she has any yashan, and some guy in line made fun of me. Stupid chumra, like yashan asim in Torah, whatever he said. I was a kid. Anyway, so that's why I have a trauma. That's why when I hear the word omer, I want to explain to people in America. People don't even know. It's a doiraisa, bizman hazeh, to eat Cheerios from the new crop or whatever you're eating, a pizza. You should try to be makbid. Why not? It says a lot of stores say we have. It's already much easier today, and a lot of stores are makbid. It's even hard to find, but back in the day, it wasn't like that. And I'm sure there's a lot of products that are not 100% yashan. So remember, it's according to most shitas, most rishonim, it's a deraisa bizman hazeh in America. It's one of these. No, you have people that they're makbid on every chumrah in the world, chumras that don't even exist. But the deraisa, it's mufursh in the Torah. So again, so what's Omer? Omer is that on the second day of Pesach, you bring barley like we saw, and by bringing and putting it on the Mizbeach, and together with you bring it with a sheep, that allows you to eat all the crop that grew up until that point. But if you don't do the Omer, then you can't eat the new crop. Okay, so says the Gemara, Mamish trauma, I guess. That's what it is. They'll say he has a Mishigas. Yeah, I'm a Kabul. Omer, but listen to this. So we're talking about a guy, the Kohen messes up in his mind. He's thinking to himself that it's not a Omer. Oh, I'm bringing now a Minchas Marcheshes. Nothing to do with the Omer. Throw it out in the garbage. Because it comes, what is the Omer coming to do? It's coming to allow you to eat food. And you didn't accomplish that. So what's the point of continuing bringing the Omer? Throw it out. So they'll come out, we have a big kasha now, because in the Mishnah it says there's only two things that you throw out in the garbage, and here we have a third thing. And the same thing would apply to a carbon of the Nazir. The Nazir, we don't really have it. We have a Nazir, but he brings different ones. We're not talking about this. We'll talk about this in a second. A Nazir is a person who accepts upon himself not to drink wine, not to be metamata mace, and he messes up. Yeah, let's say he says, I'm going to do it for a year, and in the middle of the year, he goes to a funeral and he touches that person. He has to restart the whole thing, but first he has to bring a carbon. Ah, very good. I was trying to get away with that. Shkayach. There's only three, don't get nervous. Turning to the Daf, Adar Global, special experts in international payments, Encore Healthcare, Zchus Refuah Shneim L'Yelad Michol Ben Shulamis, Zchus Hatzlach Kol Klal Yisrael Anonymous, Emerit Refuah Kami Kaimov, doing the Daf. Thank you again. That's a new one. Shkoyach. So, this Nazir has to bring a carbon, also Vasham Mitzayra. So, a person who's a Mitzayra, who has tzaras, and he's done with his whole thing. So one of the things he has to bring is an asham. This asham that you did not only the chatas and the carbon paste that we had in the first Mishnah, here's more asham mitzayir asham. They come to allow a person to go into the Beis Hamikdash. They allow a person to drink wine. They're matirim, right? Most of karbanas fall. There's two categories. A carbon 90% of the time comes to forgive. Let's call it 10% of the time, I'm just throwing out a number, is a matir. A matir means that it allows you to do something. If you're a Nazir, it allows you to drink wine. If you're a woman who gave birth, it allows you to eat kachim. And then this korban is for kapara, for if you did an averi. So, then since it didn't accomplish what it set out to accomplish, throw it out. It's not. So now we have the same question twice. We have in our Mishnah that a mincha that you didn't do with the proper intent, it's kosher. What are the two exceptions we learned today? The mincha of a saita and a sinner. And if you're correct, listen, how come it doesn't bring down the third one, which is the mincha of the aimer? Says Gemara, yeah, you're right. Aimer is part of it, but it's not in the Mishnah because the Mishnah is talking about a private mincha. But tzibur like Ketani, another pshat. Kikatani ba b'glal when it comes on its own. Ba b'glal zevach like Ketani. The aimer comes together with a carbon, with an animal, so it's not mentioned in the Mishnah. Another pshat. Kikatani hanach shen kivul zman. When does the aimer come? Second day of Pesach. Every year, same day. That's not interesting. That's not in our Mishnah. We're talking about something that could come on any day. Oh, the kivul zman like Ketani, something that comes on a special day, not. Omer ma. By asham of a nazir and the asham of the tzayra that you shechted it without the right intent, it's possible to throw it in the garbage because they come to allow you to do something. Sorry, nah, the same exact question we just asked, but from the first Mishnah, which says the same thing as our Mishnah. It says the list of the karbanos that if you mess up in the machshava, you have to throw out. What are they, Rabbi Isai? What are the two karbanos that if you mess up in the machshava, you have to throw out? A chatos and a Pesach. The Gemara's question is, I have more. We just said the Asham of the Mitzvah, the Asham of the Nazir. Nah, Kol Zom Shadim Shlishman, Ksherim El Shlel, Balam L'Shem Choiva, Chutz Mif Pesach, the Chatas. The Misan, if you're right, listen, Nami Chutz Ma'asham Nazir V'Shem Mitzvah. The Baal Achshav L'Yishiru, they come to allow somebody to do something, the Nazir to drink wine, and he didn't accomplish that, throw it out. Says Gemara, Kivin Deika Asham Gzeilos, Asham Milos the Kapara also. Within the category of Asham, there's different types of Ashams. There's Asham Gzeilos. Asham Gzeilos, if a person lies that he didn't steal. Asham Milos, the Kapara also. If you use something from the Beis Hamikdash, you have to bring a carbon. You also have to pay. Do you guys know how much you have to pay? The Beis Hamikdash. You have to pay a 25% fine. Oh, you're looking at me. I love it. Why? Because you think it is. Well, what is the Chaimish? 20%. Very good. It's 25% the way we call it today. In English, it's 25%. 100%. You're right. It's chaimish, but I love saying 25%, and everybody goes, that's my type. It's 20%. The taich is 20%. You're right. But in a practical term, it's 25%. So, and Asham Elois, the Asham that comes together with that 25%, the kapara also, it's for a kapara not to be machsher. Therefore, I can't just toss out one word and say Asham, because there's some Ashamis that come for a kapara, some come for a matter, and therefore there's no one halacha for all Ashamis. Maishna Asham Nazir v'Asham Etzari the Bo lahach shv'lo yichshiru. Hananami, this Asham Gzeila Me'ila, Nami Bo kapara v'lo yikipru. Oh. So, at the end of the day, what's the difference? If it's coming to forgive somebody for a chet that they did and didn't accomplish that, because the guy, the right is you have to bring another carbon. Just because you continue bringing the carbon on his back doesn't mean that the owner was yaitze. He wasn't yaitze. He has to bring another carbon. So if he wasn't yaitze, why don't you just toss it? So the Gemara, there's enough kamina. I have an example, says the Gemara, where if a person dies, you would bring the carbon if it came as a machshir, not if it came as a kapara. For instance, a woman who gave birth, it's not a woman who gives birth has to bring two karbanos, a chatas and oila. Now she sinned in a way. Everybody knows she swore she's never going to have children. The Gemara is not so sure that that's the reason. Okay, let's say that's the sin. Which one of the two comes for her chet? Which one of the two comes for her heter to eat kachim? Is chatas and oila. Which one is for what? L'chari, you would say chatas for the chet. No. The oila is for the chet. The chatas is for to allow her to eat kachim. So Isha Shivia chatas mesa, she brought a bird chatas, and then she died. Yaviu yarshim alasa. The yarshim can continue bringing the oila. Why? Because the oila is for kapara. But if they brought the oila, if she brought the oila and then she died, then you don't bring the chatas. Upon me, you see that you can bring a kapara after you die. Now, I have to explain. No one can get a kapara after they die. It's very important. People they live in a la la land. I met a guy on Shabbos. I couldn't believe it. I hope he's not watching the shir now. He's not watching the shir because he told me he only learns 10 minutes a day. Like, what do you learn 10 minutes a day? He's 62 years old, learns 10 minutes a day. So he said, how much time do you spend on the news and this and that? He said, half hour. He said, yeah, you're spending a half hour on the news and 10 minutes on Torah. Something doesn't add up. And I asked him, I said, how long do you think you're going to live? He said, I got a good 40 years to me. The guy's heavy. He's out of shape. Where did he get 40 years? He's going to live to 100. Shtosim. But let's say 40 is nothing. People, they live in this cholam that they're not going to die. That guy that died when he's 48, it's his neighbor. It's not him. He's not. That's a different. He's part of a different group of the dying people. There's dying. So that guy had cancer. He's from that. No, it happens to everybody at any time. We had a guy a week and a half ago from MDY. He's on Zoom every single day. He worked in Kibbutz Lavi in the factory with built on Kodesh. All those fancy benches in all the shuls. He's one of the workers there. He's walking, and a machine just fell down on top of him and crushed him to death. Took 2 hours to take him out of there. You don't know when you come. So you got to chap a rein. My point is that tshuva is only when you're alive. You can leave as much money as you want for your Yorshim to bring karbanas and build a Rene Kodesh and donate svarim. It's not going to be a kapara. You might have a schos or whatever. You get some, I don't know, extra Gan Eden. I don't know how it works. A kapara not. But what it says over here, that you continue bringing the kapara carbon, not because she's going to get a kapara. She's dead. She can't get a kapara anymore. Oh. The Snan, we said this. What? You can't find an example of somebody who you bring a carbon that allows you to do something after the person dies. You also bring after death. We'll just finish with this. Oh, there's a Geshmaka video also. Another one. It's 3 videos today. Somebody's a Nazir. So I did this whole interview right before, the day before we learned Nazir. I interviewed a Talmud Chacham. His name is Rabbi Turjuman in Eretz Yisrael. He wrote a bunch of Sfarim. He's a Nazir. Him and his wife are Nazir. So throughout Nazir, we used him as our prototype for a Nazir. And our video today is also, it's Mamish's face. AI is beautiful. So he's a Nazir. He knows that he's going to have to bring 3 karbanos. So carbon is, I bought a carbon once. I bought a sheep to show. We did a shchita in MDY, so it cost me $500. They're not cheap, these sheep, right? So you have 3 sheep. I know people are starting to, I'm not joking, somebody wrote, he's saving money to come to the Shabbaton. He's already putting away money now. It's $1,000 a person. So it's from now, people start saving up. Not everybody has $1,500 to just throw out on a carbon. So he puts money aside. You're not allowed to benefit from this money, but guess what? If you do, you're not over on Me'ila. You don't have to pay the 25% in the carbon. Why? Because there's halacha, another halacha. How many halachas did we learn today? New musagim. Me'ila is only on kachim kachim, not on kachim kalam. Yeah, you knew that halacha? Probably not. Sounds familiar. Okay. If a person sets aside the shlamim and you benefit from the shlamim, you don't have to pay. Well, that's already, yeah. So you don't pay. So Me'ila, these 3 karbanos, what are the 3 karbanos of a nazir? Here we go. Check this out. 2 of them are kachim kachim. Chatas and oil are kachim kachim. They're from the severe category. Then you have one called the shlamim. The one all the way on the left is a shlamim. I could say I put all my money designated for that shlamim on the side. The shuruim lavi kul and shlamim. And on the shlamim there's no mila. So you don't get the penalty. Mace, what if he died and he has a bunch of money that I don't know what to do with? So the halacha Moshe Sinai, the money goes to Nadava. Mefarashim, what if he specified what the money goes for, what the designation is? The chadas money, it's chadas shemesu baleh. Chadas shemesu baleh, we go over Timna, we're not going to go into it because we have to finish the shir. There's 5 chatais. The middle one, chadas shemesu baleh, a chadas that the owner died, there's nothing to do. So if you have money for chadas and the owner died, there's also nothing to do. What do? Toss it into the ocean. Some say it's the ocean, the Rambam, this, that. It could be it's Yam HaMelech Dafka because it's mamish. You can never get it out of there. But if you benefited from the money, you don't have to pay a knas. Why? Because it's designated to be destroyed. Since it's designated to be destroyed, you're not over a mila. The me'ayla, what about the money that was set aside for an ayla? Yavi ben ma'ayla, it's not a problem. It's not a chatas, it's a ayla. So ayla, you could buy another ayla. And therefore you're over a mila, the me'shlamim, yavi ben shlamim. And if you set aside money for shlamim, you buy shlamim. This is a big chiddush. How many days could you eat a shlamim? If you learn zvachim, you know this inside out. 2 days. But over here, only 1 day. You don't bring bread. As the Gemara of oil shlamim, the nazir the machshirim nino. What's the point of the oil in the shlamim? To allow the nazir to drink wine because lachamisa. Check this out. Just want to show you this video. Here's halacha of a nazir. You take a razor blade, even though this is typically asur to use a razor blade on your head, but this is a Rabbi's Turjuman. This is a big pile, mamish. Anyway, so if it's everything. Yeah, the ganze body. Is it the whole body? One of them, Mitzayra, the Nazir. I think it's the Nazir also. Oh. So says the Gemara, You're right. There is a machshir that you bring after the death, but not something that's kavua. The nazar hechsher sheni kavu. The omar mar gilach halachas mishloshtam yotza. This video that I should have shown you over here, if you shave on one of the three korbanos, on the chatas, oil, or shlamim, yotza. You are yotza. We'll finish right over here. And Mamela, the Gemara is just saying that what he meant to say is that if it's a kavua, something that's whatever the translation kavua is, that is something that doesn't come after Misa, but a regular, there is a hechsher that comes after Misa. Rabbi Isai, have a wonderful day.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDYDaf.com.